So we're taking a sportsbook look at today's slate. Going to get your favorite bets in the following categories. So again, 15-game main slate today. First base is a run line or money line that you're targeting. Nick, where are you going for this one?
So tonight I am backing one team and one team only for all of my picks, and that is the Cincinnati Reds. So I'm going to start by doing that with the run line at plus money, going up against Kyle Hendricks tonight. I know Vladimir Gutierrez is going too, and I know he's had like one bad start since the All-Star break. I think it was actually his first start coming out of the break. Other than that, he's been rock solid. Hendricks got racked last time by the Brewers, and I know he's kind of turned a corner this season too. He's only had a few hiccups, since like April where he was brutal. But one of those hiccups was against the Reds over on July 26th, and the Reds are one of the toughest teams on right-handed pitching this season. They've been tough on him over the last couple weeks as well. And then you look at the Cubs bullpen too. We saw what happened with the game last night with the Reds, where they, it was 8 runs late in the game. So any way you look at it, I like the Reds in this one, and I'm going to start by backing them first with the run line.
All right, Garion, run line or money line bet you're interested in?
Yeah, sort of like Nick, there's a lot of games tonight where you've got teams that are trying to get into the playoffs or are already in the playoffs going up against teams that have just waved the white flag so far in 2021. And I think another example of that is the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Washington Nationals. This is a pretty lopsided pitching matchup. When you start to look at recent trends, it's Alek Manoah versus Erick Fedde. Fedde has a 7.43 ERA in his past 9 starts. Manoah has a 1.53 ERA in his past 6 starts. He's been looking really, really good as of late, coming off a career-high 11 strikeouts in his last outing against the Angels. I think the run line is also the way to go here because if we're just being completely honest, when the Blue Jays win a game, they win a game by about 11 bajillion runs. They only have 8 one-run victories so far this season. To put that in perspective, the only 2 teams with fewer are the Baltimore Orioles and the Arizona Diamondbacks. So it's really strange for a team 9 games above 500 to have as few one-run victories as Toronto. If they cover on the money line about 90% of the time, they cover the run line too.
All right, Gary, and how about a game total that you're interested in?
So I'm going to take the under in Game 2 of today's doubleheader between the Yankees and the Red Sox. The Yankees have just really been playing to the under lately. If you go through the recent trends, under is 5-0 in the Yankees' last 5 home games. It's 11-3 the last 14 times the Yankees have played a team above 500. And it's 17-7 in their last 24 games overall. Even with all the deadline acquisitions New York brought in, they have still not been scoring runs, and their starting pitching has been incredible. Luis Gil has looked amazing both times we have seen him so far this season. And also, Nate Eovaldi has absolutely shut down the Yankees so far this season. He's got a 1.71 ERA in his 4 starts against New York so far this season. He's easily been Boston's best and most consistent starter in 2021. So I think by the time Game 2 rolls around, maybe we see a couple guys who were in the starting lineup in Game 1, not in there for Game 2. I think this game goes under 7 runs.
Nick, back to the Reds here?
Yes, and this one is my absolute number 1 favorite pick of the night. Reds going over 5.5 runs. I thought I saw it fluctuate to 4.5 at one point over on DK Sportsbook, but it's still at 5.5 right now. And I prefer it there because the payout's going to be better. And I'm just as comfortable with backing the Reds to score at least 6 runs tonight. They've done so in 9 of their last 13 games. So if you've been backing the Reds offense, which I have done quite a bit recently, you've been rewarded handsomely. When I talked before about how they've done against right-handed pitching, they lead all of baseball in OPS and WOBA against right-handed pitching on the season. They're 7th in ISO against right-handed pitching on the season. And then over the last couple of weeks, they're the number 1 team in ISO and OPS against right-handed pitching. So, and you have good matchups against Hendricks tonight. I talked about Votto when we were breaking down DFS. There are other guys who do well against Hendricks. No one quite as well as Votto, but either way, when you have a mix of guys like that who can go and get after a guy who's usually a good pitcher but has definitely had some issues, I'm going to feel very comfortable when it comes to backing them to score at least 6 runs.
Okay, so hit me with your pitcher prop for this game.
Yeah, so this one was a little bit confusing at first because naturally I would think, all right, let's go with Hendricks for his hits allowed prop because the home run prop, you're not going to get your bang for your buck on this. And I know you don't have Winker in this game, of course, as well, but I still like Kyle Hendricks to give up a homer and the Cubs to lose this one. Of course, I totally think that the Cubs are not going to come through in this game. And then Hendricks is a guy who can be home run prone. I know last month he only had one game where he gave up a home run, but he gave up 2 in that one game, and that was 3 starts ago. And then last start against the Brewers, he gave up 2 home runs. So this is a guy who I want to pick on tonight 100%, and Votto's a guy who can go and get this job done for me. But there are other options as well. There are other guys who have hit Hendricks for power in the Reds lineup, but I have no question about the Reds winning this game. So why not go and see? You know, I think Hendricks is definitely capable of giving up a home run tonight.
All right, Garion, where are you going for your pitcher prop?
I'm going to go with Taylor Hearn to go over 3.5 strikeouts. It's kind of a weird one. I understand why this number is set so low because Hearn has only thrown about 70 pitches his last 2 starts. He's still being stretched out from his relief role that he was pitching in earlier in the season for the Rangers. But Hearn is nasty. I know a lot of people don't watch the Rangers. I can understand why that is. They're terrible. But for his career, Taylor Hearn has a 9.9 K per 9, a 25% strikeout rate. He can get over 3.5 strikeouts in 4 innings, and he might pitch 5 innings in this game. And Seattle is also key here. They struggle immensely with left-handed pitchers. They have a 26.2% strikeout rate against southpaws. That is the 3rd highest mark in baseball. So at plus 105, I know there's some pitch concern and some volume stuff, but I'll take Taylor Hearn to go over 3.5 Ks.
Okay, let's move on to a hitter prop. Garion, where are you going to go for this?
I'm going to go down to the total bases props. Randy Arozarena is also plus money. He's plus 105 to go over 1.5 total bases in his matchup with John Means. We'll start with the Means side of this. Had a great start to the season. He was like the one shining light for Baltimore. It's been bad. His last 9 starts, and this includes, his span on the IL. So obviously this is a large sample. He's giving up 3.3 home runs per 9 to right-handed batters. Arozarena, meanwhile, has hit left-handed pitching really well all season long. He's got an 880 OPS within the split. He's also got a 203 WRC plus since the All-Star break. Really, no one in baseball has been hitting as well as Randy Arozarena the past 5 weeks, and he's kind of starting to look like the guy who took over baseball in the second half of last season and carried that into the playoffs. So I think Arozarena is really dangerous right now, and I like him to go over this total base prop.
All right, Nick, a hitter prop for this Reds game.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Joey Votto over 1.5 total bases. I was looking at the head-to-head ones that Garion actually usually likes to cite, but there wasn't one there wasn't a payout that I necessarily liked here. With Votto, it's pretty reasonable. And again, against Kyle Hendricks, I said it when we were talking DFS. This is one of the best matchups tonight. Again, for a hitter perspective, Joey Votto 13 for 34 in his career versus Hendricks. There's 14 walks mixed in there as well, which doesn't do anything for our total bases, but his 4 home runs and 3 doubles do. So this is a guy who he hits well. He hits for power against him. So this is the person I want to back tonight to at least get 2 total bases.